Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga with Dee. And it's a new semester, which is really exciting. I'm teaching through community college set up here. And so if you're not tuning in from that position, don't worry about it. This is a nice beginning class to be able to understand how to move in your body in ways that ask you to flow from one position to another. And I'll guide you with cueing as usual. And so it's a Vinyasa Flow class. And I do believe in moving your body with intention. And that comes with slowing down a little bit to think about stretching your foot forward and tuning into your body the whole time as you're picking up that foot and lifting it and moving it over and making sure that feeling that you're producing, all the sensations that are happening, is good for you. So when you move slowly and with intention, it helps you practice more safely. And that's what I wish for all of my students. And we like to give the advice to keep movement to things that are in your daily practice. So if you don't normally do any kind of wheel, for example, I don't do a back bend anytime in my daily life, not anymore, not since I was probably 12. I'm not going to do that in a yoga class. I also am focusing this semester on some core vinyasa flows that I can feature and repeat for you often enough that you'll be able to learn them and memorize the sequence of, and then you'll be able to build yourself your own yoga class. So think of stealing, 5 minutes out of your morning to do a morning greeting, maybe later in the afternoon or after lunch at some point doing a sun salutation. Um, I'll give you different examples that will help you make yoga your own. And by doing this, you'll tune in more with your own body and you'll be able to balance and ground and challenge both your body and your mind. So, with that said, come to any comfortable seated position. I'm in the easy pose. You could just as easily come into saddle pose. We'll visit that again later. You could come into butterfly pose. You could come into staff pose. Okay. I like to bend up through my knees. No matter how you're sitting, see if you can become aware of your sits bones underneath you. Maybe rock from side to side to get a feel for those. And then pressing down, see if you can't straighten your spine a little and sort of correct your posture. Maybe send your shoulder blades back farther on your spine. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe even reaching the crown of your head to the sky. Oh, I forgot to say, speaking of which, I am here camping in lovely Coronado National Forest on Mount Graham. And I think we just have the most beautiful campsite, and it's been so relaxing. So I hope you enjoy the background. Hopefully, you'll see some aspens. There's one behind me that might shimmer if the wind picks up here a little bit. The ones in front of me certainly are. So now that you're in a comfortable position and you've been sitting, hopefully up nice and tall with correct posture, if you needed to have more support, a great thing to do is to place your hands down by your hips. You might have already done that kind of naturally, propping yourself up, allowing that space, right? As soon as I did this, I could feel that I brought my spine a little more length. And then just a little more deep breaths with all that room and space. Let's go ahead and close down our eyes. And let's focus on our breath. Let's connect here. As I was explaining, being able to connect with your body and be mindful. That is what we're doing right now as we start to focus on our breath, eyes closed. pulling your awareness inside for the next 60 minutes, right? To be able to be in tune with your body and what it can't and can't do, where it wants to stretch, where you need to be careful or cautious because of an injury. And just let those breaths come in a little more deeply here. Keep the posture, but see if you can't relax into the pose a little more. See if you can't settle into your seated position. That groundedness here. Half mountain or seated mountain, right? Where we're kind of at attention, but we're not tense. Focusing on the breath, using our concentration skills here. And our mind will wander, but we can bring it back. Start to focus again on the breath, or start to focus on the feeling of the sits bones pressing into the floor or the ground. Let's begin a short pranayama. Let's begin with belly breath. See if you can bring your lips together and let the next inhale come through your nose. And let the next exhale release through your nose. And see if you can't draw the breath deep into the belly. Maybe work your way up to thinking of energy moving from your throat to your navel on the inhale as you breathe in, and from your belly to your throat on the exhale as you breathe out. Try to fill your belly like a balloon with air. Just enjoy the expanse of this breath. Nothing's inhibiting you from really breathing into that 360-degree lung capacity, right? And we'll go ahead and set that breath aside. Find your way back to an even, measured breath. And then begin wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. You can even blink open your eyes. Maybe take some deeper breaths in. Maybe you sigh some of your exhales out. You may remove the ant. One of the pleasures of teaching outside. We'll begin movement now with some sun breaths. Sun breaths are just a series of you inhaling, palms up, lifting your arms slowly, and then exhaling, palms down, lowering your arms slowly. So we'll inhale and lift, and we'll exhale and lower. We let this be done or completed at our own pace, right? So that we can move with our body, in tune with our body's breath. Good. The next time your arms are down, I'm going to show you another Vinyasa flow called morning greeting. So we just did one called sun breath. You can do sun breath 3 times, 4 times, 6 times, 10, whatever you'd like. Morning breath is very similar to a sun breath, but it's got a few more other components. It's a heart opener, and then it's also a spinal curl pose. So it includes both of those and really allows you to stretch via its name. It's a good thing to do in the morning. You can watch me if you want the first time. We'll inhale and lift our arms up overhead, bringing our palms together. Let the next exhale settle your hands at your chest, at your heart center. The next inhale, you pause movement. As you exhale, extend your hands forward. Just reach your fingertips away from you. Now comes the arching of the back. As we inhale, we'll draw our hands apart. The backs of the hands go back behind us. We'll arch the back, lift the chin, only moving as we're able, stopping when we need to. Then we'll round the spine, drop the chin to the chest, bring the fingertips and palms together on the exhale, and we'll inhale to come back to heart center. So that's one round. Let's do this two more times and know that I'll repeat this in the net for at least the next three classes so that you can really get it down and be able to recall it when you'd like to use it to either wake up in the morning or to go to sleep at night or to kind of get you more energetic during the middle of the day. And it can be done standing as well or seated. So let's inhale, we lift the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, we pause movement. Exhale, we bring our arms straight out in front with our gaze. Inhale, we arch the back, open the chest. Exhale, we round the spine, drop the head, bring the fingers together. Inhale, we come back to center. Exhale, we release our hands by our side. Inhale, take in that air, that energy. Exhale, bring it to your heart. Inhale, pause. Exhale, extend the arms, look forward. Inhale, arch the back, open the heart. Good. Exhale, round the spine, hands together, chin tucked. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, hands to the sides. Wonderful. From here, let's go ahead and come into that saddle pose that I mentioned. Some of you might be in that already. You might have done the opening from that position. If you'd like, an alternative is to come into butterfly pose. You can do everything I'm doing in saddle from butterfly. Another option is you can bring one leg in while we twist and go laterally with the spine. And as we undulate the spine, we'll do cat-cow here too. And then on the other side, you can bring in the other leg. So there really are lots of options here, but sitting up nice and tall. Let's inhale the arms up overhead, bring the hands together. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Good. Let's turn towards one leg, doesn't matter which one. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, let's forward fold, pressing through that heel. Hands drop. We'll keep our back straight and we'll release the chest as close as we want towards that leg. You'll notice I don't come down very far because of the tightness in my hamstrings. And it's okay wherever you might be in between. We'll inhale to lift back up. We can lift our arms up over the head or not. We'll exhale and we'll come back to the center. Let's inhale, arms come up. Exhale, let's turn towards the opposite leg and release the hands. Let them come down, support us here on the floor, keeping our back and spine straight, pressing the bottoms or the bottom of the leg and the heel and the hips into the floor, extending the upper body, finding that length still in this pose. Good. We'll inhale, lifting the arms up if you'd like. Maybe you're lifting one. Maybe you're keeping your hands at your waist. We'll turn forward and then exhale the arms down overhead. From here, let's come into a twist. We'll bring one hand in front and we'll bring the opposite hand in back. If you want to extend your arms as much as you can and just maybe do a couple movements to find your really nice place where you're totally comfortable, we'll stay here. On the inhale, we'll press into our sits bones, lengthen the crown of the head. On the exhale, we'll twist here and maybe even look back behind us and use our eyes to see if we can see way over into the corner behind us. Let the next exhale bring your chin back to the center of your chest, then bring your chest back to the forward position. Let's move to the other side with the twist so that we can do the second movement of the spine from our seated position today. Once again, as we inhale, we'll ground down, root down, and lift up. As we exhale, we'll twist and maybe turn the chin, use the eyes. Get your eye muscles working and stretching. Good. Now let's exhale to bring everything back to the center. And we'll place one hand by our hip and the other hand we're going to lift up and over. So as you inhale, lift that hand up. See if you can come up nice and tall. Exhale, go to the side to open the rib cage laterally here. We'll inhale to come back up. And let's go to the opposite side. And let's go from side to side here, doing this flow. This could be something you could copy and sitting on your living room floor do as you watch TV, right? Just this simple movement, just sometimes doing something for 3 minutes, sometime in your day 5 minutes, another time in your day 10 minutes. All right, wonderful. From here, let's make our way to a different leg position. I feel like we need to move the leg. So if you haven't been in butterfly yet, move to butterfly. Maybe you go to saddle, maybe you go to staff if you're looking for a different position. From here, let's move into some seated cat and cows. We're going to start to move our pelvis so that we can round our back like we did in morning greeting and then open the heart like we did in morning greeting. So let's just take some time here to do these two movements. And these are the fifth and sixth movements of the spine. We did the two lateral and the two twists. And then let's sit up nice and tall. We already did this one already, but come into a bound angle pose here. If you are in butterfly already, if you're not, don't worry about it. Stay where you are and just find that extension. The top of the head can also lift up towards the sky. Good. From here, we'll make our way to table pose. Sorry, it's taking me longer. I'm moving the ants off of where I'm going to lay down, my space. All right, so let's set ourselves up first in table with our hands just maybe a little more than shoulder distance apart, our knees right under our hips, our back flat like a table. From here, let's move into sunbird by extending one leg back behind you, curling the toes of that foot underneath so that you can feel the toes stretch there, okay? Good. Now inhale and see if you can lift that foot off the mat. Exhale, release the foot to the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. See if you want to add the opposite hand to this. You could stretch the opposite hand forward, and as you lift the leg, you could lift the arm. And this might be a way for you to work your core if you're motivated to do that. Tightening the muscles all around the belly as you lift. Maybe you're keeping your foot on the floor. Maybe you're keeping your fingers on the floor or your hands still underneath you. From here, we're going to bring the foot that you have back behind you forward. And how we're going to do that is bend up through that knee. See if you can send the foot forward, sometimes using blocks to get up on a block and then move the foot from the back to the front helps. Let's cinch our hips forward. keeping our spine straight. I really do like using blocks, and you can sort of explore how different heights of the block feel to you. Then let's move the outside hand right by the knee that's forward to the inside. Take a couple breaths here. And then lower if you'd like. Give yourself a more intense stretch or not. You can stay lifted. And you can stay with each hand on the block on either side of the foot. Now, let's inhale to shift our hips back, and then we'll draw the foot that's forward back to come into table shape once again. From here, let's step the foot that we did not do sunbird with before back behind us, curling under those toes, letting the toes stretch here for just a second. Then inhaling to lift that back leg parallel to the floor. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. If you'd like to bring the opposite arm forward and get them both moving at once, tightening the core, extending through the hand and foot by reaching through your fingertips and reaching through the heel. No matter if your hand and foot is low to the ground or lifted. Let's come back into our table pose. Use our blocks if those are helpful, and we'll step that back foot forward, coming into a low lunge, releasing the hips to the floor here. Taking a couple breaths before moving that outer hand and arm to the inside of the leg that's forward. Releasing here. Getting a stretch in the middle of the back leg, in the middle of that thigh. Good. From here, let's shift the hips back over the back knee. Draw that foot forward, the foot that was forward, excuse me, draw it back. And we'll make our way to standing through downward facing dog. Then we'll walk either our hands towards our feet or our feet towards our hands. And let's roll, not roll, I don't know why I said roll. Let's just let our head dangle here, actually. Feet pressing into the floor, right? Or the mat. Inhale to lift. Try to bring a flat back before you get halfway, and then continue to press down through the feet and lift up through the torso until you bring yourself up to standing. Awesome. Here we all are standing up. Let's first focus on finding our mountain pose. So some people like their hips, their feet and knees a little more than hip distance apart. Some people um, do the adage of about a knuckle of your fist's width between the two big toes. Do go by feeling for how far apart you bring your feet. And let's stay in our mountain here for a second. Just feel the energy of the floor as we press into it, the mat material. We might feel that, like the sensations of what it consists of. We'll begin with some sun breaths here. So let your next inhale lift your arms up overhead. I wanted to let you do these standing. Exhale. We'll lower the arms back down by our sides. Just keep moving at your pace, at your own rate. Keeping everything intentional and slow. Let's add to the sun breaths. This time, let's lift our heels up off the mat as we inhale and lower our heels back onto the mat as we exhale. So we're working on balance here as we struggle to stay stable with a moving target with the feet. All right, nice. Nice little balance practice there. Perfect. Let's go to the top of the mat. We're going to start what's called a mandala flow. And a mandala flow is a vinyasa flow that takes advantage of different sides of the mat. So here we go. From the top of your mat, find your mountain pose and inhale, bringing your arms up overhead. Exhale, we'll nosedive forward fold by bending the elbows and knees and releasing the head, neck, and shoulders towards the floor. Hands and arms dangle. Inhale, bring your hands somewhere along the fronts of your legs until you have a flat back, your body making an L. Exhale, release, deeply bend your knees. Bring your hands to the floor, palms or fingertips. Step the left foot back and then bring that left knee to the ground. Just let it float to the floor. Flatten that back foot or keep the toes curled under. As you inhale, lift yourself up away from the mat. If you'd prefer to use blocks, please take advantage of them. We'll stick to a low lunge for about the first 2 to 3 classes, then we'll move to a high lunge. Let's inhale, bringing one or both arms over the head. See if you can open that heart forward. Nice. Keep your chin at a nice level, maybe slightly lifted. Exhale, release the hands back down onto the mat. Lift your hips and that back leg up enough to step the right foot back, coming into plank or come into half plank. Feel the extension here between your heels or your knees and the top of your head. Exhale, elbows, stay close to your body and lower yourself slowly onto the mat. Inhale, let's come up into cobra by pressing down on the hands, elbows in, chest, head, and neck lifted. Exhale to release. Feet were flat, but now we're curling them under and we're coming up into downward facing dog. Good. Now, inhale, bring your gaze to your hands and step your left foot forward. Grab onto the blocks if you need to and shift that right heel down so that as you inhale, pressing yourself up away from your mat, you're coming into your warrior two legs. Arms can be at your sides here. Let the next inhale lift the arms if you'd like, anywhere from by your side to about parallel to the ground. Wherever your arms are, see if you can lengthen through your fingertips. Gaze is over that front hand and arm. Good. Exhale, lower your hands towards your legs. Straighten the left knee, and we're going to turn or pivot that left foot so that you've come into a wide angle. Let's inhale. Sun breath, bringing the arms up overhead. Exhale, we'll release the arms down by our sides. Take your right foot now, turn your toes 90 degrees towards the bottom of your mat. Bend that right knee, coming into warrior two pose again. Then inhale your arms. Find length through the arms and the spine, strength through the legs and the feet. Excellent. Exhale, lower your arms down by your side and we'll reach towards that right foot. Pivot that left heel, lifting it up. And then we'll step that left leg up towards the right leg, coming into a forward fold. The next inhale, we'll take a sun breath to standing. Lifting the arms up overhead, palms come together. Exhale, our hands come down to our heart. All right, excellent. Let's do that with the opposite leg now. Inhale, bring your arms up overhead for a sun breath. Exhale, nose dive forward fold. Just let everything lower and hang. But feel your heels pressing into the floor and feel that rebound up through the legs to the hips. Inhale, come to half. Forward fold, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees deeply, release the hands. And I can see I left my blocks on the opposite end here. Step this time the right foot back. Lower that right knee. I'm going to quickly grab my blocks before I come into that low lunge. Left leg forward. Spine either lifted or if you're not using blocks, your chest is probably pretty low towards your thigh. Inhale, one or both arms up. Try your hand at balancing here and staying grounded. Only do what you're able. Don't push yourself. And then we release the hands, tuck under the back toes, lift that back knee and the hips, and we'll step the left foot back, coming into half plank or plank. Looking down at our mat. Exhale, we'll lower towards the floor, flatten our feet. Inhale, keep the elbows together in cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck under those toes. Press yourself up and back into downward facing dog again. All right, from here, let your gaze come towards your hands. This time, we'll step the left foot forward. Let that right foot come into warrior two. Drop that right heel. Inhale, pressing against the floor of the blocks to lift your upper body to come into warrior two legs. Remember to draw that knee towards the outer toes. Let an inhale lift arms, however much you're able. Find space for the body here. Good. Let's exhale, arms come down. We straighten the left knee, turn the left toes forward. Inhale the arms up overhead. Good. Exhale, bring them down to the heart. Excellent. Now let's turn the right foot again towards the top of the mat. Bend into that right knee. Inhale, arms come up. Warrior two. Exhale, we'll bring ourselves into a lunge until we can step that left foot up towards the right. Inhale, sweeps the arms up overhead. Exhale, brings the hands to the heart as we stand. Let's find our mountain here. With our hands at our heart, just checking in. All right, next, let's release our hands down by our side. And let's inhale the arms out and up over the head, a sun breath. We'll move from here into chair by bending the knees, sending the hips back. I'll turn to the side here. Feet are as wide as the hips. And we're going to pretend like we're going to sit in a chair. We can leave our hands lifted 45-degree angle, 90-degree angle at the heart, at the hips, at the knees. And we're going to go from here into a forward fold. Keeping the knees a little bent and just letting the head, neck, and chest and arms and hands release towards the floor. All right, press down through both feet. Lift up to a standing position once again, arms up overhead, hands come together. Come back into chair by releasing your knees and hips down. letting your arms and hands release, taking a few breaths, holding this pose, and then release into your forward fold. Maybe reach your hands down to the floor, grab your blocks. Give your lower back the support it needs by bending the knees and resting the belly on the thighs. Notice how constricted your breathing is. On the next inhale, press down through both feet, lift up to standing, arms come out and up, hands come together, and exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Let the next inhale bring the arms up again. Exhale, we'll come into chair. One last time. Breathing here. And then coming into a forward fold as we release that tension that built up from our strengthening. See if you can find relaxation in this shape. And then let's see if we can make our way down onto the mat. Let both knees float down. Maybe flatten your feet back behind you. Sit your hips down against your heels and rock from side to side. If that's not comfortable for you, you can come onto your seat and rock from side to side. All right, from here, let's bring our feet out to one side so that we can straighten them out ahead of us. Coming into staff pose. Let's wiggle our toes here. Point and flex our feet. We were standing for quite a while. Our feet were bearing a lot of that tension. Our legs, maybe windshield wiper here. We're going to move into boat pose by bending up through both knees, pressing into our sits bones. Sitting up nice and tall first, holding on to the legs, maybe at the front, at the shins, the knees, the ankles. Then shift your back, or your shoulders rather, and your spine, so that it's behind your hips and you're leaning back. Notice how your core is coming into play here. Okay. Now you may or may not feel relief by bringing your hands to the backs of your thighs and being kind of more of a connected structure here. Try your hand next at inhaling to bring your heel even with your knee and exhaling to lower. You can switch sides or stay on the same side for a while. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Lifting as we inhale, exhaling as we lower. If you'd like to try both, getting quite the abdomen workout here. From chair to our boat here to our neck shape. All right. When you're ready to release, you can release through your boat, lengthening both legs and lowering the body all the way down to the mat. Slowly. I'm going to make sure no ants get in my hair as I lay down here. We'll bend up through both knees. Feet are on the floor, hip distance apart. Nothing's under the head. Arms are down by your sides. Shoulders are underneath of you so that your chest can really open up at the front. Okay? Let's do a couple different, uh, well, one more abdomen exercise from here by inhaling and lifting one foot so that just like in boat, our heel is even with our knee. We'll lift the other foot here too, and let's first press through both heels. Draw your toes towards your shins. Now relax your feet. And as you lower your right foot, point the toe. Don't touch the ground. Lift that foot up. And as you lift the right foot up, it flexes. Move to the left side. Point the left toe as you lower it. Don't touch the floor. Then lift that heel back up knee height and flex that foot. Keep moving back and forth, alternating here. One of the themes of today's class is alternating sides, alternating legs, alternating feet eventually. And as you're ready to release, draw, let your feet float back to the ground first, then draw both knees into the chest for that counter pose, which is the seed pose here. So we'll lift our head, neck, and chest and kind of look forward as we bring our nose to our knees. All right. Excellent. Exhale, releasing the head, neck, and chest. Release your feet back down to the floor. And let's set ourselves up for bridge. Feet are flat on the mat. You can feel all four corners pressing into the floor. Arms are along by your sides. Palms are face down. Let's inhale to lift the hips, peeling them up off the mat, drawing them towards the sky. Exhale to lower the hips. And let's make this a flow. Let's inhale as we lift. Another theme of today's class. We've really flowed with our breath. Exhale to lower. Inhale, peel the hips up. Exhale, release the hips down. Do a few more at your own pace. And when your hips are down the next time, just go ahead and settle. Maybe relax your hands. Maybe come into reclining butterfly pose. Then inhale, bring the knees together, the feet back onto the floor, and draw both knees in towards the chest. Wrap your arms around the legs. Inhale to bring your chin and nose towards your knees once more. Exhale to release. Head, neck, and chest come down. Feet come down. All right. Let's keep the left foot bent, the left knee bent, or we can straighten that left leg, but we're going to draw the right knee in for wind relieving pose. We're going to wrap the arms around the legs here. Let the next inhale bring the head, neck, and chest, the nose towards just the right knee. Again, working the abdomen muscles, sorry. Exhaling to lower the head. The foot can release, the knee releases away from the chest, and we'll go to the opposite side with our wind relieving pose. So, right knee can stay bent, foot on the floor, or we can press through that right heel while we're drawing the left knee in towards our body, wrapping our arms around somewhere or reaching for that leg. And then we'll release the left knee from the chest. And let's come into windshield wipers, bending up through both knees, pressing the feet into the floor. Let your next exhale bring the knees down to one side. Inhale to lift them up. Exhale to lower to the opposite side. Find a little rhythm. See if you can move slowly and evenly through your breath. Inhaling to lift the knees. Exhaling to lower the knees. Inhaling to lift. And exhale, lowers. Nice. Next time your knees are lifted towards the sky, let's bring both into the chest. For one more seed pose, lifting the head, neck, and chest up, nose and chin draws towards the knee. We can hold ourselves here and then release on an exhale. Head, neck, and chest come down. Feet come down to the mat. Let's roll over onto one side. Doesn't matter which one. And let's extend that bottom hand and arm out and up past the top of the head. So we're stacking shoulders and hips here. Let's bring our elbow up into cactus arms, and we'll take the top knee, bending that foot. We'll bring our knee as close to our elbow as we can, and then bend the knee as much as possible, and then straighten that leg. And let it mirror the bottom leg. Keeping a right angle with the elbow. Nice. Release that top hand and arm. And let's roll over onto the other side. You can roll across your back and then let the opposite hip and shoulder come up, stacked on top of the lower. Lower arm is released straight out in front, or over the head rather. Upper arm makes a cactus shape, arm shape. And then we'll begin to lift the knee, bending the leg, and then straightening the leg. Balancing here, working our core, trying to keep stacked, trying not to let the elbow come to the knee, but the knee come to the elbow. And then releasing the leg, releasing the hand, and rolling back onto your spine. From here, let's move into student choice. So that means that listening to your body, you're going to pick a shape to make your body into. That is what your body's tissues desire. Does that make sense? Letting it choose its own path here. So maybe you want to stretch your legs towards the sky and work on leg strength of muscles. You can point and flex your feet. You can come back into reclined butterfly. You can come into happy baby or do knee circles with the knees in towards the chest. We are winding down here. And there might be something that your body still needs to feel to round out your practice. Let yourself feel what your body was craving when it directed you to move into whatever pose you were in. And let's take a moment here for a check-in. Checking in with how our body sensations feel. We should feel tingly, energetic, like in terms of our limbs and our muscles just having been stretched and strengthened. There are some places that might feel a little tight, other places that might feel more loose as a result of our practice. But just coming internal here and assessing how we feel. Because if we don't feel good, we might have made a poor choice in terms of how we moved. And know that you always have the ultimate decision-making power of what shape you go into and what shape you don't go into. Find your way into a final Shavasana shape, whether your knees be bent or straightened, whether your legs be together or apart. See if you can begin to let your body release to the floor. Another question to ask yourself is, did you always move with intention and at a speed that allowed you to see how it goes into a pose or a shape and stop when you're feeling like the stretch is enough? Feel the parts of your body that are touching the ground now, and feel the parts of your body that are surrounded by air instead of mat. Begin to focus on the breath, not trying to change it at first. And then begin to slow the breath down. Let the breath help the body understand it's okay to relax. See if you can lengthen your exhales as you smooth out your inhales. Deepen your inhales. Let's begin a body scan starting with the feet and the tips of the toes. Feel where your toenails are. And then wiggle your toes slightly. Feel where the toes begin and end. Bring them to stillness and move into your feet. Let your feet windshield wiper back and forth a couple of times. And then let them settle and relax. Let your heels and ankles feel heavy on the floor. Moving up the shin bone and the calf bone to the knee. Relax both lower legs and feet. Try to make the relaxation process cumulative as we continue to scan the body, moving up the legs from the knee to the hips, along the femur. We're just noticing, appreciating this vast network of tissues, so many different types of tissues coming in here at the hips, moving to all parts of the body, up the spine, down the legs. Letting the hips totally relaxed against the floor. Starting with the tailbone, move up your spine vertebra by vertebra to the hips, to the sacrum, rather than the lumbar spine. And then feel where your shoulder blades are, making sure those are back behind you. against the rib cage, flat, chest opened for that next big inhale. Nice. Moving into the shoulders from the spine. Again, this vast array of tissues coming together. Arms, the spine, and the head. And then moving down from the shoulders to the elbows, down the humerus bone, relaxing the arms, letting gravity do its part here. Moving from the elbows to the wrists, along the forearms, and into the small bones of the wrist and hand, back of the palm, front of the palm. Begin to move your fingers and your thumb just a couple of times and then tune into just this part of your body. Let the hands and arms feel heavy here. And now bring your awareness to your head, your neck, your throat, your face, the back of your head, the top of your head. Relax your face, your jaw. Let your tongue relax in your mouth. Relax your cheekbones, your eyes, your forehead. And let the back of the head feel heavier and heavier. Feel into your whole body that's lying on the mat here. Grateful for this time to work on alternating sides of the body, work on flowing from one vinyasa to the other, learning some core flows that we can bring into our daily lives with us, knowing that we'll repeat them in the coming weeks so you can really learn them. Let's begin to bring movement back into the body. We'll start to rock the head from left to right, moving very slowly. And the next time your head passes right on the center of your chest, keep it there and make your way over onto your favorite side for sleeping. And then we'll press up away from the mat to come to a seated position. Perhaps elevating the hips by bringing our blanket along with us, sitting one last time. We'll bring the hands together